Hey guys, I want to talk to y'all about the biggest mistakes I see buyers make, and it's not the one that you think. It's not overpaying, it's not about skipping an inspection. The biggest mistake is starting in the wrong place. People go out and they fall in love with a house that they found on Zillow at midnight. They've never even talked to a lender. They have no idea what they can actually afford, and then they're devastated when it doesn't work out. Here's the truth. The home search is really the easiest part. Everything that sets you up for success happens before you ever walk through a front door. I'm Debbie Miller with Christie's International Real Estate Lone Star here in Fort Worth, and I've been selling real estate in DFW Metroplex for about 10 years. And I'm going to walk you through the 15 things you need to do right now before you ever start looking at houses. These aren't suggestions. These are the steps that separate buyers who close with confidence from buyers who lose deals, waste time, end up starting over. So let's get into it. Step one, pull that credit report. Before you do anything else, and I mean anything else, you need to know where your credit stands. Not what you think your credit score is, not what Credit Karma says it is, but what it actually is. There are 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Every lender is going to pull all 3 of them. You can get a free report from each one at annualcreditreport.com, and you should do that right now before you do anything else. Before you call a lender, and here's why that matters. According to Rocket Mortgage and any other mortgage company, the better your credit score, the better your rate you're going to qualify for. A higher score means a lower monthly payment. A lower monthly payment means you can buy more house with the same income or just have a lower payment. That's not a little thing. It's tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. More importantly, you need to look for the errors. Errors happen a lot more often than you think on your credit report. The wrong balance, accounts that don't belong to you, old collections that should have dropped off. If there's a mistake on your report, you have the right to dispute it, but that process takes some time. So you want to find out now, not the week before you're trying to write an offer or the minute before. Know your number. Start there. Step 2. Understand what your credit score actually means for your loan. Okay, so you've pulled your credit. Now what? Let's talk about what that number actually means in the context of getting a mortgage. Because there's a big difference between having a credit score and understanding how lenders use that number. Most lenders are straightforward about it. A credit score of 620 or higher unlocks most conventional loan options. But here's what most buyers don't realize. Even going from a 680 to a 720, that can mean a big difference in your interest rate. And that difference in rate compounds every single month for 30 years. So if you can improve your score before you apply for a mortgage, it's absolutely almost always worth it to do it. So how do you improve your score fast? Pay down your credit card balances, especially any cards that are near their limit. Don't open any new accounts. Don't close any old ones either. Pay every bill on time. These aren't groundbreaking tips, but it's what actually moves the needle. Rocket Mortgage recommends keeping your debt-to-income ratio at 36% or less for the best mortgage approval odds. That number is just as important as your credit score, and we're going to talk about that one more in a minute. But know your score and understand what that means. And if there's room to improve it before you start shopping, take the time to do it. Step 3, calculate your real debt-to-income ratio. There's a number that buyers almost never ever think about and don't even know what it is until then, but lenders obsess over it. It's your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI for short. This is the single clearest signal that they use to decide how much house they're going to let you borrow to buy, and if they're going to lend to you at all. So here's how it works. Add up all your monthly debt payments, your car loans, your student loans, your credit cards, your personal loans, and divide that number by your gross monthly income. The result is your DTI. Rocket Mortgage recommends that you keep that number at or below 36% for the best mortgage terms. Some mortgage programs go higher than for a DTI, but your buying power. But what does that look like in real life? Say you make $5,000 a month before taxes. If your existing debt payments total $800, your DTI is 16%. Wow, that's excellent. But if you've got a car payment, student loans, and a couple of credit card minimums stacking up to $2,000 a month, your DTI is 40%, and that's going to limit what a lender will approve you for before your mortgage is even in the picture. So run this number before you talk to a lender. And if your DTI is too high, fix is simple but not easy. Pay down some debt or find ways to increase your income. Do the math first. Know what you're working with. That's always the best solution. Step 4, Figure out how much you can actually afford, not just what a lender will approve. This one is really important and so often ignored. A lender will tell you the maximum they're willing to loan to you. That's not the same thing as what you should spend. Texas realtors are very direct about this. Just because a lender says you can afford a certain price doesn't mean you're comfortable with that payment every month. Those are two conversations, and you need to have both of them. Wells Fargo Home Mortgage recommends methodology called the 50-30-20 rule as a starting point. 50% of your take-home pay goes towards your needs, your housing, your utilities, your groceries, your insurance. 30% goes towards things like entertainment and lifestyle. And then 20% needs to go into savings and paying off debt. That's a framework, not a law, but it's a helpful gut check. The point is this: get clear on what a monthly payment actually looks like in your life, not on paper, in your actual life with your actual expenses, because that mortgage payment is going to show up every month, whether the furnace works or the market is up or you have an unexpected expense. Run the numbers on what you're comfortable spending, not just what you're approved for. Those two numbers might be very different, and the one that matters for your quality of life is the one you choose, not the one the bank gives you. So step 5, save for your down payment and understand what down payment really means. Let's talk about money you're going to need to put down, because this is where a lot of first-time home buyers get some surprises. The down payment is the most visible cost, but it's not the only one. According to National Association of Realtors 2025 profile of home buyers and sellers, first-time buyers' down payments are at the highest level since 1989. That's a real number, and that's great. The market has changed. Texas realtors note that while 20% is a traditional benchmark, because it typically means you get better loan terms, no private mortgage insurance, but you don't have to have 20% down to buy a house. FHA loans can go as low as 3.5% down. Conventional loans can start at 3%. VA loans for qualifying veterans and active military, they're 0% down. Wells Fargo Home Mortgage also offers programs specifically for buyers below a certain income level. But here's the critical piece. Your down payment is not the only upfront cost. You also need money for closing costs. Those numbers are put at roughly 2 to 6% of the loan amount by most lenders, depending on your lender fees, title charges, appraisals, and prepaid costs like homeowners insurance, property taxes, etc. On a $300,000 home, that's $6,000 to $18,000 on top of that down payment number. Knowing this number before you start means you don't fall in love with a house that you can't actually close on, that you can't afford. Step 6, build an emergency fund before you buy. This one just does not get talked about enough, folks, and I think it should be at the very top of every first-time buyer's checklist. Before you buy a home, you need an emergency fund, and that's a fund that lives separate from your down payment, savings, and here's why. The day you close on a house, it becomes your responsibility. The AC system doesn't know that you just spent everything you had on closing costs. The water heater doesn't care that your house poor. Wells Fargo clearly emphasizes this as part of preparing for home ownership. Make sure you have the financial cushion for the unexpected. It's not if something's going to happen and need attention, it's when. Most financial experts recommend having 3 to 6 months of expenses in an accessible savings account before you buy. That's not the money marked for your down payment. That's money that's sitting there specifically so that a broken appliance or the roof needs fixed, that doesn't become a financial crisis. If you drain your savings account to close on the house, you're starting home ownership in a very vulnerable position. Don't do that. Build the fund, then buy the house. Step 7, get mortgage pre-approval, not just a pre-qualification. This is an important one, guys. I want to spend some real time on this one because there is so much confusion about what pre-qualification and pre-approval actually mean. And the difference matters enormously when you're trying to compete in a real market. Pre-qualification is based on information you tell a lender. No documents, no verification, no hard credit pull. It's essentially an estimate. It feels official, but it's not. A seller is not going to take your pre-qualification letter seriously in a competitive offer situation. Pre-approval, now that's different. According to Rocket Mortgage, pre-approval is a formal process. The lender, no matter who it is, verifies your income. They verify your employment history, your assets, your debt, and they pull your credit. They issue a letter saying, this is how much we are willing to let you spend pending a final approval. That letter has some weight. It tells seller that a real underwriting process has started. It shows you're serious. It gives you real buying power. Lenders put it pretty plainly. Pre-qualification sets your budget and understands your options, but pre-approval is what moves you forward in a transaction. And in the DFW market, when you find a house you love, you might have days, sometimes hours, maybe weeks, but you got to get an offer in. You can't go scrambling through the pre-approval process after the fact. Get pre-approved before you start looking. It's not an option. Step 8, gather and organize your financial documents. Okay guys, this one's no fun, but the pre-approval process is going to require documents, and a lot of them. And one of the fastest ways to slow yourself down is to be scrambling for paperwork while a house you love is out here sitting on the market. So before you even call a lender, start gathering your documents now. The list from Rocket Mortgage includes your last 2 years of W-2s, your most recent pay stubs, and typically for the last 30 days, and your last 2 years of tax returns, 2 to 3 months of bank statements for every account that you plan to use, statements for any investment or retirement accounts, and documentation of any other income sources you plan to include. If you're self-employed, the list gets longer. Your lender typically wants 2 years of profit and loss statements on top of all those other documents. Here's what I tell every buyer. Create a folder, either a digital one or a physical one, and start filling it now. The buyers who move the fastest in this market are not the ones who wait to get organized. They're the ones who have everything ready so that when they find the right house, all they're doing is writing an offer, not chasing down a tax return from 2022 or a bank statement from 3 months ago. Step 9, research loan types and programs that are available to you. There's a lot of them out there, guys. Not every mortgage is the same, and not every buyer qualifies for the same programs. Before you get pre-approved, you should have a basic understanding of what kind of loan makes sense for your situation, because the type of loan you choose affects your interest rate, your down payment, your monthly payment, and even how competitive your offer looks to a seller. So here's a quick overview. Conventional loan is typically best for buyers with good credit and a solid down payment. It usually has the fewest restrictions on the kind of property you're buying. An FHA loan is backed by the federal government and is designed for buyers with lower credit scores, down to like 580 sometimes, or smaller down payments, but it comes with mortgage insurance premiums that add to your monthly cost. A VA loan is available for qualifying veterans and active military members. It often requires zero down payment and is one of the most powerful buying tools available. A USDA loan is for buyers that are in certain rural areas, and it also offers a low to no down payment option. Texas Realtors and Wells Fargo Home Mortgage both point out that there are different state and local assistance programs, down payment assistance, closing cost credits, mortgage revenue bond programs. Many buyers just don't know about them. Wells Fargo has the Dream Plan Home program. For example, offers qualifying buyers up to $5,000 towards one-time closing costs. These programs exist out there with lots of lenders. Your lender should know about them, and your realtor should too. Step 10, understand the true cost of home ownership beyond the mortgage. Your mortgage payment is not your housing payment. I want to say that again because it surprises so many buyers. Your mortgage payment is the principal and the interest. Your housing payment is everything else that comes along with owning a home. And in Texas, that list isn't short. Texas Realtors are clear that buyers need to understand the full ongoing cost picture before they commit to a price range. In Texas, property taxes are significant. Depending on the county, you could be looking at anywhere from 1.8 to 2.5% of the assessed value of your home per year or more. That's not your mortgage principal. That's an additional cost. It's often rolled into your monthly escrow payment, but it's very real. Then there's homeowner's insurance, which your lender is going to require you to have. HOA fees if the neighborhood has one, lawn maintenance, utilities, the general cost of maintaining your home, repairs, appliances, systems that wear out over time. So think about it this way. Add up all of your housing related costs together, not just the mortgage payment alone, and make sure that that total number is a number that you are genuinely comfortable with. Because once you close, all those costs are yours. Be a realistic buyer, not just an excited one. The buyers who are happiest in their homes are the ones who went in with eyes wide open about what it actually costs to live there. Step 11, make your must-have list and your nice-to-have list. This is important, guys. And this is a step that sounds simple, but it's way more powerful than most buyers realize. Before you ever talk to a realtor or open a search portal, you need to make 2 lists. Your must-haves, the things that are non-negotiable in your house, and your nice-to-haves, the things you'd love to have but could live without. Texas realtors specifically guide buyers to think through location, type of home, how old is the home, number of bedrooms, how close is it to work or schools, the size of the lot, does it have a garage, and any other features that are genuinely important to your daily life. National Association of Realtors research found that buyers who had a clear list of priorities before starting their search found homes faster and were more satisfied with their purchases. Why does this matter before you start looking? Because the moment you start touring houses without clarity, you're making emotional decisions based on what impressed you in the last house you walked through. That's how buyers end up in a bidding war for a home that doesn't even fit what they really need. So get specific before you start searching. Separate the must-haves, 4 bedrooms, from the wish list, a double oven. Then hold to that line. Your realtor needs to know what you're actually looking for too, so that they can show you properties that serve you, not just the properties that are available. Step 12, research the neighborhoods and the markets that you are considering. Guys, I can't stress this enough. So that you know what you can, now you know what you can spend, you know what you're looking for, but you need to know where. It can't just be anywhere in DFW. That means doing actual research on neighborhoods and the markets before you start touring homes, not during. In DFW, markets vary significantly neighborhood by neighborhood. What's happening over here in Keller is way different from what's happening down here in Cleburne. What's happening at South Lake is different from Arlington. Different school districts, different commute times, different price trajectories of homes, different inventory levels. You should understand the basics of the market you're entering. What homes are selling for relative to the asking price, how quickly they're moving on and off the market. What does the inventory look like before you fall in love with a specific house? According to NAR, the typical buyer searched for a home for 10 weeks before making a purchase. In hot markets, that can stretch to 4 to 6 months. If you understand the market before you start, you move faster and smarter when the right house comes up. Ask your realtor for a market snapshot. Look at days on market, sold to list ratios, how many active listings are in your price range. That data tells you what you're in a buyer's market, and if you have some leverage, or a seller's market where you need to be ready to move. Know quickly and know before you go. Step 13, interview and choose your realtor before you need one. This is something a lot of buyers do backwards. They find a house and then they're scrambling to find an agent. That's exactly the wrong order. You need to choose your realtor before you start your search, not after you've already found something that you love. Here's why this matters. More than ever. As of August 2024, per the NAR settlement, buyers are now required to sign a written buyer representation agreement with their agent before they tour any home in Texas. Texas realtors updated their forms to reflect this requirement, and it is now standard practice across the country. This agreement outlines the service your agent will provide, the compensation structure, the terms of your working relationship. It's a contract, and you should understand it before you sign it. That means you need to interview agents before you need them. NAR recommends asking potential agents about their experience in the specific market you're targeting, their average days on market for buyer clients, how they handle multiple offer situations, and exactly what services they provide. The right realtor is not just a door opener. They are your negotiator. They are a trusted advisor. They are a local market expert, and they are your advocate through the biggest financial transaction of your life, probably. Choose carefully. Don't default to whoever you found first on a website. Interview 2 or 3 or 4 and hire the one who earns your trust and that you really feel like you can work with. Step 14, understand the new rules around buyer representation and compensation. I got to talk about this one a little more and go a little deeper because the rules changed. Back in 2024, and a lot of buyers and sellers are still confused about how agent compensation works now. So before this big settlement back in 2024, it was standard for the seller to offer a buyer's agent commission as part of the MLS listing, meaning the buyer almost never had to directly negotiate or pay their agent. That changed. Buyer's agent compensation can no longer be advertised on the multiple listing service. Sellers can still choose to offer to pay the buyer's agent, and many or most do, typically as a concession in the contract. But it's not a guarantee, and it's not disclosed up front in the listing. So, according to Texas Realtors, what this means for you as a buyer is that now you have a direct conversation with your agent about compensation before you ever see a house. That conversation should cover what your agent charges, what services that covers, and how that compensation will be paid, whether it's through a seller concession, out of your pocket, or some combination of both. This is not something to figure out on the fly. Go into it informed. It's negotiable. Ask questions. Read the agreement. Make sure you understand what you're signing. The buyers who get tripped up by this are the ones who didn't take the time to understand the process before they were already emotionally attached to a house. Ask the questions. Step 15, get your head right and get prepped to move quickly when you find the one. So we are at the last step. And the last step is part mindset, part logistics, and I think it's one of the most underrated things I can tell a buyer. In today's market, especially in DFW, the buyers who win are the buyers who are ready. Not almost ready, they are ready. Our research shows that 38% of first-time buyers said understanding the process was the hardest part of buying a home. And a 2024 survey found that nearly half of buyers said purchasing a home was much more stressful than they expected it to be. I'm not sharing that to scare you. I'm sharing it because the antidote to both of those things is preparation. When you've done the work before you start, you're not stressed because you're not surprised. You know your numbers, you have your pre-approval, you have all your documents organized, you've chosen your agent, maybe that's me, you've divined what area you're looking for, you've researched all the markets. That means when the right house comes up, and it will, you can act. You can write an informed offer with confidence because you're not scrambling for information, you already have it. In a competitive market, that readiness is your edge. Most buyers are reactive. You don't want to be that. You want to be ready. Do the 15 steps. Do the work before the search starts. The buyers who do this are the buyers who close.